Andrew Schulz.
Yes, sir.
Now that you're here, I mean, it's been a long time since we spoke.
How long? Adrian, where the fuck you going? Right when we start talking about me, you leave? That's
like,
what it is, Adrian?
He's like, oh, boring.
This piece of shit.
Yeah, really. I don't know. It's been years, I think.
2?
A couple of years.
3,
yeah.
maybe?
Yeah. I feel like you are in a different position now.
I feel like we're both in different positions.
We are both in different positions. Maybe that's why you and I are talking to Adrian like we're talking to him, because Adrian's this kid who doesn't realize
We were there.
Right. But now we've both got stuff to lose.
Yes,
You've got
nothing to lose.
Like, you and I have been working as long as we've been working.
Mm-hmm.
We've built a nice career for ourselves. Things are finally starting to click.
Yeah.
And it's like you and I are hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
Like we put too much work into this.
I can't lose this.
Right, can't lose it.
Yeah. I wouldn't even think about assaulting someone.
No, you can't.
Assault that's very interesting. I'm at a point in my life where I will only fight you if you're worth more money than me.
Right.
I cannot risk fighting somebody worth less money than me.
You can't.
Because they'll sue.
Right.
I need to be the one that sues, or you look at me like, what am I going to get?
Right.
And you don't sue.
Because they're going to look at your face like, oh, MTV too. Okay, yep, I think.
Because they think TV pays.
Yes.
They
don't
really
know.
think, they don't know.
They look at me and they think there's an apostrophe after his name. It's possessive. It's Sam Roberts show. He must be a millionaire.
That's true, because it's good grammar.
Exactly.
You got to go bad grammar. You're going to lose all your money because you want an apostrophe.
Right.
Get rid of the fucking
That's
apostrophe.
what Charlamagne has done so well. The THA God.
Exactly. You're like,
and
oh,
nobody
you don't got
thinks...
no money.
Exactly.
You can't even spell Charlamagne right.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, what for you right now? Because I was thinking about, because you got a lot happening. Beyond Guy Code was the big thing that you started to put you over the top.
Yeah.
But now
I wouldn't say over the top. It got the ball moving.
yeah, we're still trying to
That's
inch.
the top. Yeah,
inch up there.
Yeah.
But now, like, you got the podcast with Charlamagne.
Yes.
Brilliant Idiots.
I've been doing that for 2 years now.
You have you pop up on Charlamagne's show on MTV quite a bit.
Yeah, I do that. This season I'm a consistent panelist. Or whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And then you did
which makes sense since they basically made the show based on our podcast.
Yeah, how does that happen? That like it's like we like your podcast, we're gonna take one of the hosts and bring him on. Like, do you sit there and go like, Charlamagne? Like, what about?
Well, no. I mean, originally I'll tell you guys. Actually, I don't care anymore. I just fucking talk about this.
Doesn't matter.
Originally, I pitched them a couple different things. I pitched them an hour block.
Especially, by the way, since you were right before that, you were the MTV2 guy.
Yeah,
you were on every
time
show.
where I was the MTV across the thing guy.
Right.
This was Charlamagne has that now. There was a time where I was hosting everything, going to these things, all that kind of stuff, and they gave me 2 shots. I had a dating show which failed, and then a show called Jobs That Don't Suck which failed, and
that was that.
I think what happened was I got a little bit more. It was both. It was like I got a little more closed off because I was like, I can't just take every show. I got to be a little bit pickier about the things I do and how I kind of control my brand. You know what I mean?
Because you had failed for the first time, and the last thing you want to be is the pilot guy who we see
exactly
for one season of everything.
I don't mind failure if it's something I want to do.
Right.
But I didn't want to do the dating show, but I did to be a good soldier.
Right.
I remember when they said that it got picked up, I was praying it wouldn't get picked up.
Right.
And they called me saying it got picked up, and everybody's online, all the execs and everything like that. They're like, hey, we just want to call you, let you know that the show got picked up. And I was like, congrats, guys. Like, I didn't even associate myself to it. Like, I was like, maybe I'll get somebody else to host it.
You had one of these contracts that was kind of across the board.
Overall.
Meaning that, like, you were developing shows regardless.
Well, I wasn't developing, but they could put me in anything. They didn't have to pay me more. So it's like get your money's worth. Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm mad grateful for MTV just because they give people opportunities who have come from nowhere.
Yeah, right. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I only bring that up to say that most people would say, yeah, fucking right. Any TV show would have been good. But you had the deal.
I
so
was
you were not in that
regardless.
position.
Now, but at the same time, there was some language in the contract where I could voice my opinion on not wanting to do a show, but if they really wanted to push come to shove, they could force me to do it. But I'm really thinking about like, all right, let me be a good soldier.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about let me just build up, a huge social media following. This is at the time where there's only Twitter.
Right.
So I'm like, well, let me get 1 million Twitter followers. And then I could do whatever I want. I could, sell out shows on the road. I could create my own shit. Like, I'm thinking in this way, just build my equity up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
So I do that show, the dating show. It was on 4 days a week. It was crazy. It was, it was the new Singled Out or whatever we watched growing up, you know. And but it just wasn't. I mean, I did my best to make it as cool as I could make it, and as reflective of me as I could make it, but it was whack.
Yeah.
It was just whack.
You didn't even like it.
I didn't like it. Then I did a show called Jobs That Don't Suck, which I think is a great concept for a show. I think we could change some things, but it was basically cool jobs. And it's like, if I'm a young kid watching TV, I'd like to see if there's some cool job opportunities. Like, it's dirty jobs, but good jobs. You know, like Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs? This is cool. I think we could have chose better jobs. I don't think we need to go...
Like, what kind of jobs were you doing?
We did like a guy ran a weed dispensary. We did a guy who like milks venom from snakes. We did a guy, like I went to milk the venom with snakes. If I could redo the show, I would just go experience all the jobs. This, we did it like we had field pieces. I went on some of the jobs. We had a big studio set, which was, in my opinion, a waste of money. I think we should have just sent me to go experience all the jobs, like Mike Rowe. Rowe, but good jobs.
Totally.
I think that could win. But I liked that it was aspirational. I'm into the show. Maybe not on brand perfectly with me, but I believed in the concept. It was much more than a dating show.
Right. And the fact that it's MTV and it's kids that are watching MTV anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be doing a show for kids, at least do something aspirational, so it's not like something
Teen
where
Mom.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of Teen Mom.
Right.
Don't be a teen mom. Get a job doing this. Right?
There's other things you could do.
This is a really good thing.
Which is rare for MTV.
Of course, it's tragedy TV, which works. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
I'm all about it. It's fun to see Snooki get punched. Like they're interesting things. Like what you described earlier could be an MTV reality show. A fucking Russian
Kirill's
shows up on your Kirill's house, and it's not even his house. He just shows up to new couches.
He shows up to your house, and you don't know.
And it's his now. Welcome. What do you mean welcome? It's my fucking house. Anyway, so I did that shit. And that show didn't get picked up either. Then after that, I was a little bit more guarded. I was like, all right, let me just not take every single situation.
You get bummed out at that point too? Because it's like you've had you were okay with it.
Yeah, I wasn't okay. I don't really, you got to keep moving. Like, I'm competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I've made other pilots that didn't get picked up. Like, in this business, it's not a one-shot.
So when did you first have to deal with that? Because to the outside, it's like you've had a lot of successes. Maybe people don't see your failures.
Oh, yeah.
At some point,
Tons.
like you're not born though comfortable with failure. You have to fail several times before you can get comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like if you don't deal well with adversity, this is not the right business for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between LeBron and Jordan. You know what I mean? People always talk about LeBron, like how he kind of maybe, when he has a tough time in the finals or in the playoffs, he kind of like shies away. It's like, but he's been the man ever since he's, in 14 years old.
Yeah.
Ever since 14-year-old, he's been the man. There's never been something that he wasn't highly touted for, that kind of stuff. Like, he didn't fail until he got into the NBA Finals.
Right.
Like, Jordan, the best player ever, kicked off the high school basketball team.
Right.
Wasn't an All-American, but his fucking roommate was an All-American in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Wasn't the number one pick of the draft.
He was way down, wasn't he?
No, he was second or third.
Oh, okay.
Broke his foot when his second year in the league. Like, this guy had adversity, so by the time he reached it in the playoffs, he's like, yo, I've been through, this is nothing. It's like, like when you've done radio, if you go do someone else's radio show, you're not freaking out. You're like, I do this. I've been through the worst, most uncomfortable situation.
Right. There's no show that I'm going to sit there and be like, I don't know if I can do this.
Bro, Charlamagne did Stephen Colbert yesterday, and we were at the Colbert show. Yeah, it's great. And we were watching Chloe Moretz, Stephen Colbert's interviewing Chloe Moretz, and I looking over him, and he's watching on the TV. We're in the green room and waiting to go on. And I look over him, and he looks over at me, and he's like, "We good." You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where he's seeing that interview and he's like, I got it. Like, he was nervous until he saw it go on. And it was like, man, we good. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
amazing.
I didn't even say go kill it. I was like, dude, do what you do.
Yeah.
Like, this is because he's had that conversation a million times already.
Yeah.
He's where does your name come from? He already got that joke set up, ready to go. Like, so basically we've been in that situation. So in terms of, TV and doing these kind of things, I did a pilot for MTV. Me and Damian Lemon did a show that didn't get picked up. Other ideas, maybe I did pitch. I did, Guy Court was a season, which was so much fun. It was the most fun.
All right, Soder did that too. But
Everybody did it, and it was like Guy Code the play. But like, if you really just were like, hey, we're just having fun. We're not really making rules and decisions about Guy Code and what to do. It's like, we don't care. We're just having fun. Like, you shave your pubes or not, I don't give a fuck. You know? But that didn't get picked up, and it was one of these things where it's like, all right, this is the nature of this business. Like, you can make something that's actually really good in quality, and it might not be on the right network, it might not be on the right time. The people that see it might see it late. There's so many different things that go into a show working out. So it's like, as long as I feel like I did my best job on the show, then
Right.
I'm cool with
That's
it.
all you could do.
Yeah.
That's all you could do. So, get back to where we were with MTV.
Uncommon Sense.
Yeah.
So basically, before that, they pitched a show called. I pitched a couple things. I was like, yo, why don't we do a show which is just an hour? Charlamagne does the first hour, half hour. I do the second, or vice versa. And it's just like our perspectives, and it's Brilliant Idiots Tuesdays or something like that. We just make a block out of it. And they were like, we don't really know. And then I pitched, all right, why don't we do Brilliant Idiots the show? And Charlamagne was kind of hesitant. He was like, I don't know if I want to give them the show. Maybe we want to hold on to that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I guess what do they then own the brand and all this stuff?
They might own the name. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know how it is. It's tricky. And so basically we go. They're like, we're not really sure about that. And then they hit me back up later and like, hey, listen, we have a pitch for you. We want you and Charlamagne to host a show called Guy Code Live or something like that. I don't know exactly. Ask Guy Code, I think it's called. And it's basically you two guys talk about pop culture. You talk about current events. You have a guest on, and then you take questions where you do like an Ask Guy Code thing where you take questions. And on the call, I was like, well, isn't that Brilliant Idiots?
Right.
Did you just describe to me my own show after I've already pitched this idea?
Yeah.
And they were offended by that. Yeah, they were offended by that. They didn't re-up my deal.
Wow, that offended?
It was like...
Were you shitty about it?
I wasn't shitty about it, but I was just like, fam, I was in the room with you.
You were
talking
annoyed.
to you guys about,
yeah.
And then I talked to them, they're like, well, we don't think the Brilliant Idiots brand is as big as the Guy Code brand, and the yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I was like, look, that's...
A part of you must have kind of wanted to move away from the Guy Code brand anyway.
Yeah, I was, I mean, right now, I can't really say it, I guess. Whatever. But we're filming, we're doing, I don't know, whatever. But I can't really talk about it. But yeah, there's part of me was like, listen, I've done, we did 5-6 seasons of the show that was immensely successful. And it was immensely successful in the age of fuck men.
Right.
Like, never has there been more anti-male sentiment, and this is a show that's kind of celebrating masculinity, right?
Right, which doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen at all. Doesn't happen. So we were the Trump of TV shows, right? It was like, you're like, how is this doing well? Like, every Huffington Post article is, mansplain this and fuck men this. It's just a show we're fucking around, just being guys doing around. Anyway, so basically, they I guess they were a little upset about that. I don't think they didn't re-up my deal based on that. I think that there are a bunch of shows that were coming out that I wasn't that interested in. Mm-hmm. Like the Joking Offs is a show. Like, my feeling on TV right now is if I'm myself, I gotta have a perspective. I gotta have a POV. Like, I don't care about making fun of pictures. Yeah. Like, I gotta be me, and we gotta talk about, an issue, a thing,
totally.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Or I'll act as a character. That's fine too. But if I'm me on TV, I want to talk about ideas. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to be like, well, what do you think about this picture of this fat person? I mean, well, that looks like a guy that, I just don't care to do that. Yeah. So basically it happened. And we kind of, I don't want to say parted ways, but we were doing more like, basically right after that, I got Benders.
Right. With Chris Stefano and all you guys on IFC.
That was lucky because they basically told me like a month before my deal was up that they weren't going to re-up the deal. And so now, and I was a little salty about that because I was like, this is a huge amount of money that I'm not making anymore. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
That was it.
I was about to live with Kirill. It was about to be, and I remember I had auditioned for the show, I think Monday or Bender's Monday, or got a call back Monday. Wednesday, I went in for the meeting with MTV where they told me that they were a little upset about the way I handled the thing, but there were other things as well. And they were like, we want to keep working together, but we're not going to re-up the deal. And then Friday, I got the call that I got Benders.
Oh, my God.
So there was like 2 days where I was like, I got to figure out life. And then Friday, I get the call, and they're like, hey, man, you got Benders. I was like,
and is that one of those like moments in life where you're like, because I would assume when you don't, the MTV deal's done, you're like, fuck, did I do that right? Maybe I didn't.
Sure.
Like, was I acting out of ego? I don't know if I probably made. And then the call comes in that you have Benders, and you're like, I did that right.
I did that right.
I did it right.
I did it right.
Because Benders was something you really wanted to do.
I wanted to do scripted. I wanted to see what that was like. I wanted to kind of continue to move forward in my career and do more stuff. Up to that point, I'm not an industry darling. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these guys that's going to show up in your varieties. Like, I'm not, the stand-up comedy industry or like Hollywood isn't going, hey, look at this Andrew Schulz guy. I'm a guy where you need to see me. When you see me, you fuck with me. MTV fucked with me. They saw me and they fucked with me.
It's weird though that you're not, because there was that period of time where MTV they kind of put you everywhere.
Yeah, but the industry, like MTV is kind of almost the anti-industry.
I see.
Right? Because MTV's looked at as like broed out, reality TV. Like you could even argue sometimes like being on a lot of MTV stuff could like hinder your success in like the comedy world.
Right.
Because comedy's mostly nerds.
Right.
So they look at MTV like, oh, those are the guys that bullied me.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I thought about that too, because I feel like you don't want to say the MTV generation, but
Sure.
the guy code and the girl code comics, which is most of the successful young comics right now, had this sort of self-confidence about them.
Sure.
And that was part of the MTV thing.
Yeah.
That, like, the Nortons and the Vosses and the Bob Kellys and these guys of the world,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, no, comics hate themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm doing my thing right now.
It's so true. No, look, we all hate ourselves. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
get good if you think you're good.
But see, like, you choose not to really focus on hating yourself that
What
much.
am I gonna do? I'm
Whereas
really
these
gonna
other
go
guys
up there
are
and
like,
say I got it hard. I'm 6'2", I got great fucking hair, perfect teeth. What am I gonna do? What
No,
am I
you're right.
really gonna do?
You're right.
I hate fake humility.
right.
I hate that. When I
Right.
see anybody do this fucking fake humble shit so like an audience likes them
Yeah.
or anything like that, if I feel like my ankles are destroyed from playing basketball,
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about how my body's falling apart because it's falling apart. Dude, I don't mind that talking about, but I'm not going to walk up there and self-deprecate so a group of people accept me.
Feel more comfortable with
Because
you.
I find it phony. If that's
Right.
just as fake as like pretending to be cocky.
yeah.
It's equally phony.
Yeah.
Like, just be genuine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
ever question Jim Norton's feelings because he's genuine.
Right.
He fucking feels that shit. Right? Like, nobody can say anything about Norton, right? Because
Right.
even you ask other comics, how do you make fun of Norton? He already did it to himself.
Exactly.
What do you say?
Exactly.
You know, so it's like, so if you're genuine, I fuck with it and I believe it. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be genuine. That's my only, and in general, I just don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to fucking,
Right.
Or actually, I admit I'm a hypocrite. I just hate the phoniness on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I hate like the super liberal elitism.
Isn't it weird that like there's so much of the population is either super liberal elitism,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, or they're so against it they become hyper conservative over here, and there's this like lack of ability to just have a conversation where your mind might get changed,
Bro.
You know what I mean? Where you can actually
Well,
like
you just learn more about your point of view. Like,
Right.
dude, it's pathetic. It's like Bill Clinton said best is like those who don't listen are afraid of the truth.
right.
You know, he had the Black Lives Matter protesters out there, and he was trying to explain to them this bill.
Yeah.
And they were just kept yelling over, and he was like, "Listen, those people that don't listen are afraid of the truth. I'm trying. You're here to get my attention. I'm
Right.
trying to tell you that we signed this bill at the behest of black community organizers, black community leaders. Like, we did what we thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
After talking to the people, right? Like, in retrospect, what is it? You know, vision is like 2020, and when you look
Hindsight.
back, hindsight is
Vision,
20.
yeah,
You know
something
me, I
like
went to
that.
public school, bro. I don't know about that shit. When you look at it in reverse,
Right.
it's 2020.
Yeah. You can see it real clear
It's
in the
real
rear
good.
view. Yeah, but it's like because people, I think, generally, they figure out their point of view. But they're not the smartest people in the world.
Sure.
So they're like, the last thing they want to do is be presented with something that negates their point of view, because then they got to figure out something else.
This is so true. There's fear.
Yes.
Because people don't really believe what they believe.
Right.
Innately, a lot of people are closer to Trump than they are to Bernie, but they know Bernie's the good one.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, he's the good guy. And my friends that are nice like Bernie. So I better like Bernie because they're going to...
Because I want to be liked. I want to get retweets and I want
Exactly.
likes, right? That's,
Exactly.
That's the culture that we're in,
Yeah.
right? Because here's my issue with liberals, right? It's like, because I grew up in New York City, Manhattan, liberal.
As liberal
like,
as it gets,
As
yeah.
liberal as they come, right? I consider myself very, I mean, very liberal, but it depends on every issue. Like,
Sure.
I throw it up. And I understand really both sides. I try to make a point. But so the uber liberal, right? For example, a person out at a Trump rally beats up a Trump protester. That Trump person's savage. A Trump protester walks up to a Trump person at the rally, supporter, rips his sign, and beats him up. He's a hero.
Right.
And here's the issue.
Because there's a hero and a villain here.
'Cause
instead
liberals-
of picking
Instead of-
up on actions.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Because they're the same. It's two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Right.
Right, of course.
It's the same thing as a girl that goes, I don't date black guys, and a girl that goes, I just want to date a black guy. It's equal.
Right.
That is equal
Right.
prejudice.
I
But
mean, it's like Donald Trump going like, No. I don't hate all Hispanics. I love all Hispanics. And you go like, how?
That is the exactly. There's no way you love all
Of
Hispanics.
course, how
I
could
don't.
you?
I've met many I don't like.
Right.
Dude, I've met many that I like. It's
Right.
just like anybody else.
It's humans.
It's like oranges. Some are really nice and they're delicious,
Right.
and some are fucking bad.
Once
And
I had a rotten orange, and I was like, this orange sucks.
exactly.
This one.
Now I keep eating oranges.
Right.
And thank God that the Latinos pick them.
Right. right. Because a lot of them are great.
No, but in all reality, the super liberals have this. They think they're Batman.
Right.
They think they can break. You know how Batman breaks the rules?
Of course.
But it's okay because he's doing it for good.
Right.
So they think that they can be prejudiced in a positive way.
Right. And then you have a lot of blacks and Hispanics and other minorities going, when did we say we needed saving?
Yeah,
Like, when did we say that we needed you
bro,
to save
it's the
me?
most
I don't need. It's
dude,
like.
that's a great point. It's patronizing.
Exactly, that's the word.
Like right now, what we're doing to women is so patronizing. Like in California, there's the affirmative consent law. You hear this law?
What's
Where,
the law?
It's like during sex, you have to ask a woman if she still consents during
step.
step by step.
As you're thrusting.
Even during
Every step.
every step.
Like
of
I'm
the
saying,
way.
like, thrust.
Oh, I farted. Yeah,
You cool?
yeah.
Thrust, you cool?
Yeah, baby, I don't know every thrust. But
There's got to be in the legislation a number of thrusts.
12 thrusts per question.
Okay.
No, but you got to ask him. And I'm looking at this shit like, when are we just going to treat women like equals?
Right.
Like, if I treated you like an equal, I would respect that you have the ability to be responsible enough to say, I don't feel comfortable in this situation anymore. And I'm not going to walk around feeling like a rapist. You're asking me to
Right, I
walk
can't.
around feeling like a rapist.
Yeah, like that's the default. Until I tell you otherwise, you're a rapist.
I'm a rapist.
Yeah.
Hey, don't say hi to a girl and tell her she looks beautiful because that's sexual harassment.
Right.
If she doesn't like it, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna walk around assuming I'm ugly.
Right.
It's only sexual harassment if she doesn't want that.
Right.
That
Yeah.
interaction.
Well, it's got to be, it's a crazy extreme. They're like, okay, we watched this video where this woman is getting catcalled and it borders on harassment. Okay. Then you can never say any of the things that were ever said by any of the people in that video. And you go, no. I think that there's a balance.
You can't say them after they say no.
Right.
But we have to at least hold women responsible to the point to say no.
Right.
Just
You look-
say
hey.
no.
Can I tell you, you look great today. Fuck you. All right.
That's fine.
All right.
Have a good day.
Sorry.
I can't say anything after.
Right.
And I'm totally fine with that. Even if they're rude to me, I'm totally fine with that because I understand how annoying it must be to go through that every day, especially in
Okay.
a city like New York.
Right.
I'm not gonna say anything after, but don't take away my ability to try to get some pussy.
Yeah,
You
just to
will-
try. I'll like let me be responsible for knowing where the line is.
Yeah.
And we can agree on the line.
Yeah.
And I'll stop there.
Yep.
But I need to be able to make the
Let me
effort.
try, because there's no
Like-
babies unless we make the effort.
Exactly.
We
They say,
make the babies.
How many times do you hear it's a numbers game and they're trying to take the numbers away?
Don't take the numbers
You
away.
have to give us the numbers.
And you're going to be upset when you take the numbers away.
Right.
Because I guarantee. Actually, I don't know how online dating is affecting women. I can't exactly see just yet because I haven't really delved into that just yet. But I'm not saying women want sexual harassment. That is something they obviously don't want because it's harassment.
Of course.
Right. But we as a society want social interaction.
Yeah, and harassment can so often be identified like unique to the interaction.
Yeah. Are you ugly?
Right.
Do we disagree on ugliness?
Yeah.
Like, I could be really confident in the way I look, but a girl looks at me and she's like, you do not need to be talking to me. That's sexual harassment.
Right. And then you realize, all right.
We disagree on my cuteness.
Yeah.
I did not realize I was a sexual harasser because I was too much self-esteem.
I walked out of the house overconfident, and that's my mistake.
My bad, baby.
I'll stop. I won't do it again.
I left the house feeling good.
I was wrong. But I was talking about it actually last night, where it comes to like this thing and how we use the technology we have today. Because you're right. At the end of the day, people, for some reason, we have all this technology, we have all the information in the world, and people are looking to do the least amount of work for the most amount of likes and retweets and just attention.
Yeah.
Instead of realizing, this is exactly what I said last night, that like for me, I'll read an article or see something on the news or go like, I instantly get an opinion about it.
Yep.
And then the next step before I jump in front of a microphone is to start looking up other articles.
The opposite opinion.
And create what's the argument to this? Because I need to out-argue myself.
Yeah.
And then it is so easy in 2016 to develop an informed opinion and then present it.
And equally easy to develop an uninformed opinion.
Right.
That's the problem. Remember when we were growing up, there was Britannica.
Yes.
That was all the information in the world.
And then
one set of books.
And then it became like revolutionary when Encarta came out.
And then the
we could put the disc in, and it's like
great. Now there's more books, but it's just digital, right?
Right.
But that's what we had. So you and I had the same information, and we made our judgment based on that. Now, if you want to hate black people, you could look up only information that's anti-black people.
Yeah, point of views are out there, not just information.
Exactly.
And you can
nobody's
figure out.
fact-checking.
Right. You're like, oh, well, I'm assuming somebody's had my point of view before. What's the argument to it?
Yep.
And then if you find, like, open yourself up for a second to be like, oh, before I go talk about this, I actually agree with the argument.
Yeah.
I thought I did, but nobody does it.
Yeah, but they don't, because they don't want to do the extra work. They want to be liked by their friend group. I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I don't live there, but if I did live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, I got to think like everybody thinks in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and that's that everybody's a victim and da-da-da-da-da. Like, nobody believes in meritocracy. Not, like, they have this one viewpoint, so they don't even try to understand why people are voting for Trump.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you at least try?
Or at least, like for me, my frustrating thing is I can't have a conversation about how much fun it is to watch.
What?
Trump.
Amazingly fun.
Like, I can't just sit there and be like, isn't that fucking hilarious what oh, you think that's funny? You think what he's doing, and it's like, yes, of course it's funny. He finally invented a nickname for Bernie.
What did he say?
Crazy Bernie.
Crazy
Bernie Sanders.
I love goofy Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, when he goes out and he goes, she's a goofus.
She's a goofus? I don't know. He called her a goofus. Dude, calling someone goofy is so dismissive.
Especially when they're a senator.
They're a fucking senator, bro.
And you call them a goofus.
You're a goofus. This goofy lady. You're a goofy fucking lady.
Yeah.
And it's just, dude, yeah, I can't agree with you more. It is entertainment. Like, it's way easier. It's way more fun to watch a car accident than a car drive perfectly.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we rubberneck at car accidents.
Right. And car commercials, we DVR through.
Change.
We don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it drive. You need to put fire in the commercial.
Yes.
Have you ever seen those Chevy commercials where they're driving the fire?
Right.
They're like, the only way they'll watch if there's fire. And we watch. We're like, oh, fire.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I actually hate watching the other politicians talk after Trump.
Yeah, boring.
It's like, just be fucking racist. Like, say something racist.
Yeah. Say something shocking and then somehow succeed after it.
Yes.
Like, do that.
Be funny.
Right.
Trump wins off of humor.
And Trump can do what a comedian can do, or what a radio person who actually knows how to do radio can do, which is he can stand up in front of a crowd. He doesn't need notes.
Just
wing it.
Wings it.
He's just up there going, what else? What else? Hey, what about this Tom Brady? Can we leave him alone? He's a good guy. It's just like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? I'll vote for him. I like Tom Brady.
Yeah. I thought you were saying vote for Trump. I'm not voting for Trump. But if you want to vote for Trump, go.
I haven't endorsed a candidate yet. Sam Roberts' show carries with it a big
endorsement.
Yeah, and we have not yet here
And what
at the
are you
show.
thinking? Who are you thinking?
Well, look, I will tell you that I think it's very clear, and I want to get into more. I was talking about it a little bit last night, but the Democrats, I feel like, have totally fixed this thing because I keep watching Bernie win states.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton somehow gets more and more ahead of him.
Oh, superdelegates.
And I'm going, what? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, superdelegates. Don't worry about it.
Dude.
Hillary gets it.
Perfect example of how hypocritical liberals are.
Yeah.
Always talk about how Republicans are disenfranchising voters, right? They're trying to suppress voter turnout, not get people to come turn out. Well, yeah, people do show up when the Democrats vote. You just take away their vote by this goofy superdelegate system where one guy gets 10,000 votes because he used to be a governor. How does that even how do you even pass that law in a democracy?
This is where, like, Donald Trump was great because the minute there was even a smell of that going on the Republican side, he just yelled into every microphone he could find, it's a rigged system, it's crooked, it's not right, it's not fair. Bernie Sanders needs to be like, I don't know, guys. We're winning every state, but somehow this rigged system still has her ahead. Like, get out there and say that shit.
You know what? If Trump wasn't in the election, I bet you Bernie would. But he's got his hands tied, too, because he can't shit too hard on Hillary.
Right.
Because that just helps Trump.
Right.
Right? If he shits really hard on Hillary and then Hillary loses supporters, but there's still a lot of people who would never vote for Bernie because they think he's a fucking communist or socialist, whatever, he's only redirecting votes
to Trump.
Right. So it's this delicate balance in the primary where you can't shit too hard on the other candidate because we need to unite the party.
Right.
Like, you could actually argue that Bernie's being a douchebag right now.
Right.
Like, if he really cared about the greater good of the country,
he'd be just being whatever Hillary says. Just, yep, she's the lady.
Unite the party.
Right.
You don't have a chance of winning. You can't
Yeah,
go to a
it's not
contested
gonna happen.
convention, but you don't really have a chance of winning based on this superdelegate system.
Yeah.
Why not unite the party? You have a future in politics, even though your future is limited as just because of your age.
Right,
But
it's not
like, you brought Hillary to the left. Like, you made her talk about issues she would never discuss.
Well, and that's why they're saying he's staying in, because they want to keep Hillary at the left.
If he gets
And
away,
as long as Bernie stays, we're still keeping the conversation way more on the left than Hillary usually is.
interesting.
That's what they're all saying.
But then, to be honest, it might be better if she wasn't too far to the left.
Well, I think regardless, once Bernie's out of here and we actually get to the general election, Hillary's going right back to the middle where she was before.
And you know what? It's not that bad. If the country's 50-50,
Right.
it should be somebody in the middle. Like,
It has to be. That's the only way you win.
Well, not only do we win, that's the only way you represent
The people.
We have this, and I grew up in New York, so I know exactly what it is. We literally think that people who don't believe the way we believe are stupid.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing about, like, it's a state's right to decide. Like, I never understood that growing up in New York.
Right.
But like, I'm reading this book called The Quartet, and it's about like the Second American Revolution, where after we got independence from England, we were still 13 countries.
Right.
Like, it was literally the European Union out there. There was no unifying government.
Right.
And then the second one was when George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay and James Madison come together, and they organize this like government, and we bring all the colonies together, et cetera.
Sure.
And basically what I'm saying is there's a history of states' rights and a state's right to choose and them deciding what they want for their state.
Right.
I'm not anti
And at first, when you're young, you're like, well, we're Americans. Everybody. But then the minute you actually leave your state, you realize, wait a minute, these people, for whatever reason, geography, history, whatever it is, the people in this state couldn't be more different in the way they think than the people in my state.
And you know what? That's okay. I'm actually okay if you want to make abortion illegal in your state, as long as you're willing to pay for somebody to go to another state to get it.
So, like, you would have to fund you got to have an abortion van.
Abortion van
that goes over
the
state
abortion
lines.
Bus. Yeah. It's
You-
accessoride, but a border ride.
Right, exactly. The aborter ride. And you would build an abortion clinic, like, right over the state line.
Right over, just like where they sell firecrackers, right in Pennsylvania,
right.
it would be an abortion clinic. You can actually do it with firecrackers.
Right.
Just shove a Roman candle up there and do whatever you're gonna do.
I think it works medically, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but like, it depends. Like, if you believe in like the ideals of America, and back in the day. We can't fathom this shit right now, but back in the day, it's like you lived and died within 30 miles of where you lived.
Yeah.
It took 3 weeks to get a letter from Boston to fucking D.C.
Yeah.
So,
man, I watch Boardwalk Empire, and I see them in like horse and buggy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you have any fucking idea how long it took to get out of Atlantic City?
Dude,
he took a horse and buggy to New York.
New York, that's weeks.
Yeah.
It's not fucking a day. Dude, it takes 3 hours now. We go
drive.
75 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Horse and buggy is 12 miles per hour tops.
Right.
Right?
And that's time. By the
Dude.
way, those horses need a rest if they're going 12 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
You gotta stop, drink water. Everybody
Yeah.
gotta stop at an inn. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Stretch those legs out.
dude, there were inns. Like,
Yeah.
inns made sense. You ever see like those motels on the side of the street now? You're like, why the fuck would anybody stay in the middle of the
Right.
I-95?
Just drive another 20 miles and
Exactly.
yeah.
But you needed that 20 miles was a day.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm like, I understand if you only cared about what your state was about back in the day, because
Yeah.
you were never going to Connecticut. You're staying in North Carolina your whole life.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about Connecticut or New York.
Yeah.
All I care about is North Carolina. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're doing in New York? No, I don't know what they're doing in New York. I would never be there.
I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
How long is
I
it?
have
A month?
And there's no method of data to bring it over here. So,
Yeah.
What
Where am I going to stay? What
Yeah.
if the hotel's booked? I got to go take another month trip right back to
Right.
fucking North Carolina?
And those inns are not great.
They're not good.
They're not good.
They're not good.
I don't like them. My gosh. Well, Andrew Schulz is here. And what I was getting at before was, so after all the MTV deal and you do Benders.
Yes.
And then
Benders gets canceled.
Benders gets canceled. Well,
Yep.
Was it canceled or it just didn't get picked up for a second
didn't get
season?
picked up for yeah. All
Was
the
that a
shows
bummer or did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming. I actually
Ouch.
thought I thought we were going to get picked up, but actually I was super confident. But I always go into things super confident because it's like I don't understand what the point of not being.
Protect yourself.
Yeah, but so I don't need to protect myself. I'm good regardless. So I might as well just put the positive.
So like you're gonna
energy.
maintain super confidence, like even if they're like, yeah, you were wrong, it's not getting picked up. You're like, all right, I think I'll still be
I think
super
we'll still
confident.
get picked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Luckily,
I can
my
see.
next project is gonna be amazing.
I
so
can see. No. I what I'm saying is like I don't need to protect myself from the disappointment because I know I could bounce back from that, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll just go into it with the most confidence when I'm filming and people are like, I hope we get picked up. And I'm like, no, we're absolutely getting picked up. And I hope that trickles down to other people and they perform their jobs with this confidence that we're going to get picked up.
It's how an athlete maintains.
Yes.
It's the same. And I've said that on here. Like, I don't understand why more people don't take that psychology of, like, find out what you're good at, what you like to do.
Yes.
Do that and put everything into it and just push.
Yeah.
Forever until you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in it. I believe it because you get what you put into it, dude.
Yes.
You know, and you could talk about The Secret and all that kind of shit. Or my buddy had an interesting point. You know, there's all these people who don't believe in religion, but they believe in The Secret. Right. And my buddy's like, "What do you think prayer is?"
Right.
Lil Duval, who's on Guy Code. I was like, "Fuck, you're right. It's the same thing. It's literally just asking for some shit. All of a sudden, you get in your head and you start seeing it out there in the world.
Right.
It's like I buy a new pair of sneakers. All of a sudden, I see 10 people with that pair of sneakers.
Right.
Because it's fresh in my mind.
Exactly.
You know, you get a new car. Everybody has the same fucking car as you.
Right.
So it's like opportunity probably works the same way.
Yeah.
You know, you want a new job in radio. All of a sudden, you're having a conversation with one of the program directors, and he's talking about the 9:30 slot is open. You know what I mean? And you want.
I was just looking for.
But if you never admit that to yourself, you'll never open your eyes to that opportunity.
To what's there. Yeah, totally, absolutely.
So Benders, you know, here's the thing about Benders. I was so stoked to get the opportunity to do it. Never did scripted before, and then they let me be the lead in this fucking show. You know, it's an ensemble cast, but you know what I'm saying. It circles around this guy's life, you know. And I love all the guys, you know, Serpico, Saletti, and all the guys over at Apostle and Leary for even doing it. But I wasn't. How do I say this? I wasn't super bummed. For two reasons. One, the character was different than me. You know, I wasn't exactly. You know, ideally, you build this persona in stand-up, and you want to execute it on. So
if they see you on TV, then they go, okay, I want to see that on stage.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly that. So it's like when you see Tracy Morgan after seeing him on 30 Rock, you're like, whoa, this ain't Tracy Jordan.
Right.
You know, what's going on? He's talking about getting everybody pregnant. Like, this isn't network version, you know?
Right.
So I wasn't super bummed in that regard, but I was bummed in that, like, we worked really hard and I thought a show was really good, but I don't think it was on the right network for the show.
I see. Where was you? What network?
It was on IFC.
Oh, and it's more like an FX type show?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
You know, an FX or Spike or
Yes.
shit on ESPN2. I don't care. You know, like a place where hockey fans can see it.
Right.
Now, May 19th, it drops on Netflix.
So we'll see what kind of life it has there. And
even if it doesn't get picked up again, which I'm not even thinking about.
So that's like a week. That's soon.
Yeah, next week, yeah.
Okay.
But even if I'm not even thinking about terms of getting picked up again. It's just when you make a painting, you want it to be put in a museum so people can see it.
Right. You just want eyes on it.
Yeah, I just want people to see
Just
this thing
eyes.
we made, bro.
Yeah.
It's like we worked fucking hard on this shit. Like, that shit is hard work, man. You're working all day.
Right.
This stand-up shit is easy.
Right.
Dude,
right. And you can't make it up as you go along. Somebody else did the words for you. You have to remember those words.
Yeah, exactly.
And then make them funny.
And make them funny and do justice to them. And the guys who wrote it also directed, so they're there for all of it. And, it was a pressure-filled situation.
So then is that how, and then what, when you're doing that, does like Charlamagne still has his MTV deal, so they kind of pitch him the show that they were pitching you, kind of?
Oh, no, I think, he had his show. I mean, obviously they want to build around Charlamagne. He's this huge personality. Sure. I think they got an amazing deal with him personally. Like, I think he really solidifies MTV2 as a network, as the backbone.
Especially right now. I mean, he's become like this big star like in the last 3 weeks, kind of.
Huge. He's really crossing over, I think, to like mainstream America.
My dad called me. He's like, you know about this Charlamagne?
Yeah.
I was like,
white older people are finding out about
it.
Right.
I was like, I was trying to tell you when I was in high school listening to Wendy Williams about this guy Charlamagne, but go ahead.
No, he's brilliant. He's
yeah.
But so he had the show. I did a few episodes last year, and obviously we had good chemistry. We talk all the fucking time. And this year they asked me if I wanted to be a regular on it, and I was like, yeah, like I just...
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like I like talking shit. Like, if this is an opportunity for me to talk shit, you're not going to censor what I say. I can say whatever I want. Mm-hmm. That's fun for me. Like, I like this conversation. I like conversation. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it was one day a week, and I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it, man.
Right. Now, is that because I always wonder about like you, especially when you had the MTV and the MTV2 deal. Do you have to figure out where am I going to focus my energy right now? Because you really run the risk. 'Cause even now, you got the show, you got the podcast, which and you got to figure out, and stand up. which is at the end of the day, stand-up's the foundation.
Yeah, that's
so you can't
that's what
you
I
can't
do all
ignore
of it
that,
for.
right?
Yeah.
So, but podcast starts blowing up, and you're like, okay, we got to do everything we can to make the podcast bigger and ride this wave and do live shows and blah blah blah.
Yep.
Okay, TV shows blowing up. Okay, we got to do everything we can. So, how do you start to compartmentalize? Like, what do you do to make sure that everything is getting the
Enough
focus
attention.
that it needs?
It doesn't probably.
Right.
Yeah, in my mind, if I'm busy, I think that I'm like moving forward. But a lot of times, you could just be busy and moving laterally.
Right. Like you're getting this TV show is great and great and great, and you made it great, and then it gets canceled, and you're like, oh shit, I haven't developed my stand-up.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to get back on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, like I shot my special like a couple months ago, and
That was part of the IFC deal, right?
no, I just shot it. I shot it myself with the production company.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I haven't sold it yet or anything like that. I haven't really talked about it, but but that was what I wanted to do before I went out to LA, because I went out to LA for pilot season, and I was like, I want to do this before, because if I do get a pilot, that will be another distraction to put off.
Oh yeah.
Doing a special, and so I shot it here in the city. I shot it like a night in New York. So I did 5 clubs. I did 15 minutes a club, and I videotaped the cab
That's really
rides,
cool.
and so yeah, it's this whole night of me bouncing around and basically doing the act like I developed it, which is in these 15-minute chunks.
Yeah.
10, 15-minute chunks, which is how you do stand. You can't do hours in New York.
Right.
You can only do it on the road.
Have you figured out? Because I love that. Because a lot of guys now are coming in. Like Tony Hinchcliffe came in and promoted. All the young guys are coming in
he
and
did
being
his
like
Netflix. Yeah.
right. They're doing it themselves.
Yeah, I actually looked at Tony's, and I thought I wasn't gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be gimmicky.
Because he did it all in one take.
He did one take.
No cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the camera moved,
Right.
and that changed everything.
Yeah.
When I would thought it was one take, I was like, okay, you have no budget, and you're trying to
Just on
turn
a
that into art.
tripod.
You know what I mean? Like, no budget doesn't necessarily mean art, but the fact that it was on a handheld that moved.
Yes.
And I don't know how they had enough cards to keep
I
filming.
was thinking that too. Like
There's they're actually what is it called? Obstacles.
right.
And
All of a sudden, it had this like Birdman
yes,
vibe.
it felt like a Alexandro.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Right.
Alejandro,
Alejandro, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an artful directing that's gone
Yeah.
on here, and this is something.
I wish, to be honest, more people maybe knew that about it, because it's called one shot. So I think a lot of people assume they just threw a fucking tripod at the end of the
Right.
the comedy club.
Big
But,
fucking deal. I filmed my wedding in one shot. Too. Like I didn't pay a videographer.
Exactly. Yeah, the wedding special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool, and I think that was one of the things also inspired me. Like, you could do this yourself.
Right.
Just fuck. So my brother does all the production for the podcast, and we were about to do it, and then it started to get a little overwhelming because we needed multiple crews. Because I did 5 clubs in one night, so
Right.
I needed 4 guys at one
It's
club.
complicated too, because then you also got to get all the clubs to be on board. What clubs did you do?
Starts at the Cellar, then I did New York Comedy Club, Stand Up New York, Comic Strip, and then Village Underground. The Cellar's other spot.
Yeah.
So I wanted to open and close at the Cellar just because it's not a New York special unless you have the Cellar in it.
Sure.
And then and I wanted to do it the other clubs that showed me love, and dude, there's a lot of shit that go, like, they don't know you're filming a special.
Right.
It's not your fans that are waiting to clap.
No, because it's just that you're doing spots.
I'm just doing regular spots.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I actually don't like the waiting to clap shit. Because I feel like there's too much pressure on the audience.
Right.
I think I do better when the audience doesn't feel pressure.
You like to win them over.
Yes, yeah. I like to win them over, and
Yeah.
I like them to I would like them to laugh organically, not laugh like, I think it's time to laugh.
Right.
Because I don't have a lot of softball types of jokes. Like I'm more like have like statements, and then you kind of laugh. You're like, oh, that is kind of
Right.
It starts like that. That is kind of fun.
Right.
We build.
And then they get you, and then
Boom. So yeah, I did that. But people walk up to pee, so we're cutting around peeing. Like, there's all these obstacles you don't think about when you're filming a special.
When do you think you're gonna? You have any idea or
I think
any
the
biters
guys,
or?
the production team said there's going to be ready. Hopefully, we'll have a cut ready June 1st.
And are you gonna try to put it out online, or are you gonna sell it to a network?
I'd love to sell it.
Yeah.
Ideally, we did it. I mean, for me, it's about exposure. What gives me the most exposure? If YouTube wants to give me money, let's go.
I saw online because I try to keep up with what everybody's doing at all times.
Yeah.
And I saw that you and Charlamagne were doing your podcast live and taping it.
Oh yeah.
And then did I see right that you were put it on YouTube for like $1?
Yeah, we sold it for 99 cents. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was like you didn't have to build an infrastructure. It was like
Yeah.
just a YouTube thing. Did that work?
No.
It didn't.
It didn't work.
Adrian, take a note. Good to know. Now I'm just asking questions for me.
No, bro. You know what? I was so gassed. About doing it because
it's like $1. Who's not going to pay $1?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here are the issues. One, we Greg, my brother Greg and I, we cut together the special, and I didn't want to like sell it to a network because there was a couple like rumbly cameras. We didn't have any cranes or any movement. It wasn't shot in 4K. It wasn't like network ready. But I felt for the internet, it was
right. It was
worth it.
Yeah.
So YouTube sucks in that regard. They're amazing in terms of like putting content up and that kind of stuff. But in terms of selling, you have to put the amount of money in every country's currency. So we had to go and put fucking 99 Nigerian.
So you couldn't just put 99 cents transfer everywhere,
which you think would be
obvious.
Exactly. But instead, we had to put each currency, like, for example, they don't have 99 cents in pounds. You have to put 9 pounds. So some it's more. I'm sure we were selling it for like 3 cents in Cambodia.
Because you're like, I'm not going to fucking look up all this.
Every single, like, my brother had to put every country, and we have a big international fan base.
Right.
So we got to put all these different fucking countries. So we didn't, we first released it. Nobody could see it. Because we didn't even know that it had to be uploaded yet. So I was like, it's up. Nobody could see it, right? We talked about it on the podcast. And we're like, we're trying to watch it. Nobody could watch it. Second of all, you can't pay on your phone.
Oh, what?
You can't pay through the app. You could like go to the website on your phone, but the app
doing that,
bro. It was so 47% or something of the people watch our YouTube shit watch through the phone.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna go and do this extra shit.
But you're still going. Okay, 50% of the people at $1 each. That's still money, baby.
There we got something, right? And then the next thing was we had to put all the different currencies. Then the video didn't even come out until a week later. They had to go through a more strict process of
to find out if you can sell it.
Exactly. Right. So it was like everything that could have went wrong.
Yeah.
It was a lesson. Did we make a couple bucks? Yeah. It was never this like I'm gonna get rich scheme. It was I basically wanted to do this. I want to know if I can make enough money where I bring a team to every live show
and do it.
Right. If it could make it even, if we could break even, I would give the people every live show because I just want to give them as much content as possible.
Right.
So,
but you want it to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I did a live show over the summer.
Really?
And I did it at Caroline's, and we brought it
for this.
Yeah.
Who'd you have?
It was when SummerSlam, WWE had SummerSlam in town. So we brought in some WWE guys.
And you interviewed them live.
Yeah, and did Mike Cannon.
Of course.
I had Mike Cannon come in.
Okay.
So Mike Cannon and me started and did like a thing and talked about what's going on in the world and blah, 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 20, 30 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
Then had a couple WWE guys, interviewed them live, then did a Q&A, boom, 2 hours, awesome.
And
perfect.
Did you have a lot of people come out?
Yeah, we filled up Caroline's. Yeah,
really?
It was great. It was really cool. And then
this is phenomenal.
And we I had a video crew, and we did it and we filmed it, and I just uploaded it on YouTube for free and just put it up through the Google ads on it or whatever and said, whatever. Like, I just want, like you said, people to see, like, oh, shit, what's Sam doing over here?
Yeah.
But when you did the dollar thing, I was like, fuck, maybe I should have put 99 cents on it because what difference does it make?
Oh, big difference.
So I'm kind of...
Nobody sees it.
So I'm pretty glad to hear that that failed for you.
Well,
Because...
you know what the good thing, though, I think is... The only reason I released it is because we had put out live shows prior for free. Mm-hmm. I think that since it's your first show, showing people how many people showed up, and the success of it.
I mean, it was really at the end of the day just to send it down to the boss.
Oh, for sure.
And be like, look what the fuck I'm doing under your radar,
we're
bro.
We're doing big things here. Yeah. But also for you, it's like for your fans, they go, oh shit, we got to go to a live show. People, because a lot of times fans think they're the only fans.
Right.
Like, there are people listening to the show right now, they're like, I got to be the only one listening to this.
Right.
But there are tons of people listening, right?
I tell them 30 million. I take credit for every subscriber.
That's what's
30 million people listening.
That's perfect.
Yes,
so I think there's something there, like, when you get to show your successes to the people who support you, they feel like it's their win, too.
Absolutely.
So I like the idea of giving it away. Like, in retrospect, I would have given this away.
Right.
The thing. I wish I can't do it now because that's disrespectful to the people who paid it fucking 3 cents in,
Cambodia. Yeah. Well, it's Kirill in Russia who paid like nothing for it.
Oh, brilliant idiot! I love you. What if?
Well, Andrew Schulz, People, where can they find Brilliant Idiots?
Just Brilliant Idiots. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Basically iTunes, SoundCloud, and just Brilliant Idiots. Type it in, you'll get that. The Brilliant Idiots, Charlamagne the God, and Andrew Schulz, and yeah, man, check that out. That'd be great if you check it out.
And you guys are smart to do it because, like, and you see, and I my vibe on you, and I don't know Charlamagne, but my vibe is that you guys are smart enough to see that, like, as Charlamagne blows up, you go like, this is great for us, and Charlamagne goes, oh, Schulz is starting to blow up. This is great for like
Absolutely.
It's like this sort of camaraderie sort of thing where we're taking two strong things, we're putting them together because it works, and we like it, and it just makes everything better.
Yeah, and as long as it's there. I mean, when you believe in somebody's talent, it's very easy to want to work with them.
Right. Well, check out Brilliant Idiots. It's a good podcast, and it's doing well. And you upload videos, which is I tell everybody. People go like, "Oh, you know," I get advice. I told Stone Cold Steve Austin because he was asking me about. It's so funny. Like, he's asking me about podcasting now because he wants to enter into this world. And I was like, dude,
doesn't he have a huge podcast?
Huge now. This was a couple years back.
Okay.
I mean, it's enormous now.
Yeah, it might be the biggest.
It's the biggest wrestling podcast for sure. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, just video it and put it on YouTube. Like, don't even worry about like making it a whole thing.
Yeah.
I go, because then you're taking the content that you're doing and it's doubling the content.
Yeah.
And he never did it, but then I saw, like, I never understood why more podcasters don't just
that.
throw a camera on and video their shit.
Dude, videos get picked up on Huffington Post.
Right.
It's very hard to throw audio clips on news sites, but if you have a video clip, where you get Stone Cold Steve Austin saying that he never drank beer the whole time he was in the WW, that gets picked up everywhere.
Right.
And then all of a sudden people hear about your
deal and they subscribe and then,
I mean, the video of Charlamagne talking about retrospectively about the Birdman, put some respect on your name. It's got 500,000 views.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. 500,000 views.
Right.
How many new people maybe found out about the podcast because of that? Like,
Right. Right. It's amazing. It's
hey,
amazing.
before we get out of here, because I assume that we're finishing up.
We are.
Why is it? Because I know you're a big wrestling fan. I liked wrestling growing up, but I never really.
Yeah.
I went to one wrestling match in my life. Okay. Why is it that theater gets all this respect?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? I just don't understand. Like, and again, I haven't read anything about this. I don't know the argument for each one, but like, theater gets all this respect.
Right.
The choreography and the art and the writing and all this kind of shit like that. I've seen a bunch of shows, like,
Right. Yeah. And like, the argument, I guess, would be,
isn't there more choreography in fucking wrestling? And it's improvised?
the improvised part is what really makes it impressive. The problem with wrestling is people don't understand it. People don't get what it is.
Okay, what is it?
They kind of like
explain it to someone who's not a wrestling fan.
Right. Like
which is me.
The argument would be that theater is like acting, and wrestling is like cornball acting. But how many cornball theater shows? Like how much cornball goes on Broadway? A lot.
I've seen Blue Man Group.
Right. It's stupid.
There's no way that it's less corny.
So like people don't really get that. Number one, like these wrestlers are performing.
Yeah.
They're doing it 5 nights a week, which is insane for the amount.
They do. There's wrestling every night?
Well, they do because they do untelevised stuff. I mean, that's where they're on the road 5 nights a week.
Wait, every night there's a wrestling event?
No, I thought it's
5
just nights.
Monday's Raw.
Monday's Raw. Tuesday they tape SmackDown. Then they go home on Wednesday, Thursday. Friday and Saturday they do road shows that aren't on TV. And then Sunday they either do a road show or a pay-per-view. They just keep going. They travel and they go to
independently. Like the WWE will book a show in.
That's WWE, yeah.
They'll book a show in New Mexico.
Right.
Will they also have another show booked in another state?
Yep. They do 2 shows. They'll do on those shows, those Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows. They split the roster and they do 2 shows a night. So they're going like, okay, Team A, you're in wherever, New Mexico. Team B, you're in Pittsburgh. And then we're going to meet up on Monday to do TV. So, I mean, it's literally going on all the time.
And there's a writing staff that is building storylines and all this kind of stuff.
Right. The non-televised shows, there's no writing.
Yeah, of course.
It's
events.
exhibition, if anything else. But the thing is that people don't get that, like, they don't know how much is athletic, how much is theater. They think it's either all fake or it's too. So, number one, it hurts
Yeah,
which I think
I
anybody
did it.
who's educated all.
I did a thing. I went wrestling for Guy Code.
Yeah.
And I got body slammed. I got slap chopped to the chest.
Right,
And
and you
all
go,
that shit.
"Geez, that
It's
hurts."
fucking painful. Yeah.
But I think people don't get that, like, the performance part of it, that it's not like guys are sitting there choreographing move by move by move and figuring out how to just, like, drop each other as a feather.
Yeah.
They're like, for most of the time, here's what they do. They're backstage, they're talking, they go, okay, here's the finish of the match, and here's who's winning. Like, here's who's winning, here's how they're winning. But beyond that, they're kind of going out there, and most of the match, they're kind of just, half of them aren't even talking before the matches.
Really?
And they're just improvising as they go and feeling each other out and how their bodies are moving and like, okay, now I'm going to, okay, now it's time for the comeback, and like just whispering like, duck the clothesline, da da da. And like they just know their craft so well that they've figured out, by feel.
It's like capoeira.
Yeah. They've figured out what comes next. Like, you know how I'm sure when you're doing stand-up, right?
Yeah.
You know what 15 minutes feels like. You know what an hour feels like. You know how it's supposed to feel at 15 versus at 20 versus 45 versus 55. You know, okay. So, like, and you know that without...
Second nature.
Right. And other people watching you don't feel that in the show, but to you, it's like all you can feel.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are going in there and they're improvising this thing by feel because they know what a match is supposed to feel like and look like and flow like and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that, and as far as like criticism and stuff like that, it's always been weird to me. That,
I think it's the bro culture. I think bro culture is highly criticized. Yeah. And I think it's looked at as like this boys club bro culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like, yeah, I just think it just looked like it's lesser than because I don't know.
Exactly, because it's like we can be above this. So let's be above it.
Yeah, it's something to make me feel better about myself if I can look down on something. Yeah.
If if me and Adrian are having a conversation and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if Bray Wyatt was fucking awesome last night, blah blah blah, and you came over and you go, that shit's all fake. His name's not even Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
That would be the exact same thing as if you and Adrian were having a conversation and you're like, fuck, I didn't think Walter White was gonna blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And I walk up to you and go, he was on fucking Malcolm in the Middle. He doesn't sell drugs. I'd be an asshole if I was like, James Gandolfini is not in the mob. You know what I mean? Like, you think Tony got shot? No, of course he didn't get shot. He was acting. Like,
or like I liken it. I think maybe Damien said this shit, but like almost to rappers. Like, we love talking about rap beef.
Yes.
Like, rap beef is so fun. Oh, Meek Mill is saying what to Drake?
Right.
Drake saying what to Meek Mill? Maybe they're not fucking hugging and kissing behind closed doors, but it's like...
It's not that serious.
These rappers aren't real thugs.
No.
They're fucking sensitive, artsy types.
Yeah.
They really
Especially
are.
now.
Especially now.
Now more than ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Chance the Rapper was one of the more prominent rappers right now. His dad worked for Obama. He called Barack Obama Barack. You calling the president by your first name.
Right.
It's a different world for a rapper now.
Yeah.
But I appreciate, like with a rapper, the character development.
Yeah.
If I see a unique character, like Snoop Dogg is a unique character.
Yes.
Outside of just being a rapper, I'll be honest, I would even go so far as a lot of times I like character over rapper. Like, I love Gucci Mane. I'm not the biggest fan of his lyrics, but as a character...
and you see that...
Yeah, he's wild, right?
And you see that happening more and more. These guys that are getting famous on Instagram, like Plies.
Plies.
It was like his music sucks, but his Instagram is off the charts.
I did top 5 favorite rappers whose rap I don't listen to. I did a list, and it was, it was Plies, Gucci, it was all these guys. And I feel like there's something like that for wrestling. And again, I'm not into it enough to know like the main guys now, but when I was coming up and The Rock was in his heyday, that was a fun character.
Right.
Like...
It was just fun to talk
how
like
you
him.
Feel it doesn't matter. Like, when he was doing that to chicks, that was so fucking funny. Like, and that's not easy. You don't just sit in a room and go, you're going to be this guy.
Yeah.
That takes work, just like it takes work to develop a character for a play, just like it takes work to develop a character for stand-up.
That's the thing. It's like bad wrestling is about as low entertainment as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
But when wrestling's good, to me, there's absolutely nothing that I would rather see than really good pro wrestling.
Dude, what if it's the fan base? what if we judge things based on fan bases? Like sometimes you see these wrestlers in these hillbilly towns where they're in a fucking high school, and these guys, I know you've seen that clip. It was real to me.
It's still real.
It's still real to me.
Yeah.
Like, and you see those guys, right? And you're like, oh, I'm better than those fans.
Right.
I go to theater.
Well, that's why, I mean, and then it goes back to hip hop, where the perceived fan base is like these thugs and gangster kids, and you're like, whether even if it's Chance the Rapper who's like hanging out with Obama or whatever,
it's gonna have the stigma.
you're like, I don't like any of that hip hop gangster rap music. They say bitch and blah, blah. Like, maybe it is something like that. We'll have to get in. You have to come back.
Stop wrestling shaming.
Exactly.
We need to stop it.
Well, yes, definitely the Brilliant Idiots podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Schulz, and you'll have to come back way sooner than the last time you were here. Yeah,
anytime.
We'll make it a thing.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming by, Andrew Schulz, and we'll be back. Thanks for watching another video from Sam Roberts Show. There's no the, and there's an apostrophe after the S. It's possessive. We upload videos every day, so make sure you, right there below, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on social media. All the links are right there. Just do it.